Hello and welcome to another Pioneer video. Today we have Selesnya Angels. Wanted to take a break from brewing and kind of just turn my brain off. Also, there's been a lot of aggressive decks being played in Pioneer at the moment, so I decided why not bust out this Angel deck. I just grabbed a deck from a top 8 of one of the recent challenges. But yeah, this is a deck that people have played in the past. I think Amalia just told people to stop playing it because why would you play this life gain deck when you could have played that life gain deck. But with Amalia banned, it's back. A lot of aggro decks, like I said, so it's pretty good matchups versus all those different style of decks. Just because you are a life gain deck, you play to the board, you can block flyers like Slick Shot Show Off. Yeah, not too much to say about the deck. I don't think much needs explained. Like the mana base has all white lands, so you can cast Bishop of Wings on turn 2. There's some elves to help you get to your companies and your Kyler's reconstructions faster, as well as play your 3-drops. But yeah, just a pile of angel cards that work together well, and a pile of spells that put them into play, like Collect a Company and Kyler's Reconstruction. Side deck, also relatively straightforward. Shaper Sanctuary and Takashi's Welcome for grindy decks, or decks with a lot of spot removal. Damping Sphere, Lotus Field, Rest in Peace for graveyard decks. Archon for combo. Peacekeeper can be nice versus decks of sweepers. And portal holes for aggressive decks, things like Sack and whatnot. So let's jump into the matches. Get through these quickly. And get another video. Alright. So here is match 1. Alright. So I have this hand that is just Elves and Skyclave Apparitions. Looking at my deck really quick, trying to decide if I want to mulligan. I think I keep this hand. It's a gamble, like I said. The leagues are full of aggressive decks, and I say to myself, well, I have Elf, I have Skyclave Apparition, I can deal with permanents. I'll just keep it, and we'll top deck some decent cards. And that is not what happens in this game. My opponent's playing Esper Greasefang. They play Consider. I have an Elf. Draw land. Play an elf, attack. They thought sees me. They take a Skyclave Apparition. I draw land. I go again. I draw another land. I'm like, okay, this doesn't matter. They're just going to Greasefang me. I'll just play this stupid Skyclave Apparition into play. I think all we do this game is draw lands. Maybe we draw a spell, but here's a Greasefang. Not too scary. They don't have anything in the graveyard yet. Flashback. Hit a Sky Sovereign. And we go next. So I think I kept a 2-lander this game, and we just didn't draw a spell, but whatever. Really awkward. Not much you can do. Put in Rest in Peace. And I think I put in Anointed Peacekeeper and just take out the Skyclave Apparitions because my opponent's deck mostly functions at flash speed, and then they're going to Greasefang me. And if I don't have instant speed interaction, it's not great. I leave in one Skyclave Apparition. I can hit it off company, but it's not particularly reliable. Maybe it's correct to have like a second one, but I kind of figure I'm just dead in this matchup. So yep, this hand's decent. I have Rest in Peace versus Greasefang. I have an Elf. I have 3-drops. So just play to the board. I'm not super worried about too much. Like maybe they have a counter. Even if they do the Greasefang thing, like I'm playing Angels, so I can just win. It doesn't, like if they make 3 Angels, it won't matter if my board's full. So, and also my Angels can just be bigger because Righteous Valkyrie. So get Collector Brutality'd, play out my hand, and then I get Serene Verdict, and I'm like, oh, okay, great. And yeah, that is just how the match goes. Stuff happens. They play a 4/4. I play a 2/4. They Sky Sovereign. I draw land. I draw a creature that dies to Sky Sovereign, and then there's an elf. So, yep. Not a very exciting match. I don't know what to say about the Esper Greasefang versus Angels matchup. You probably won't play it, so you don't have to worry too much about it. But yeah, you know, if you do play against Esper Greasefang, look out for Supreme Verdict. And maybe that's some secret tech for the Abs and Greasefang decks. Maybe they should have Wrath of God or something. All right, what do we have next? These matches are pretty fast, so try to get through them quick, make a short video. Alright. My opponent reveals Gigantha. So I assume they're an aggro deck. I have Elf. And at this point, I'm trying to figure out what they're doing. I'm assuming that they're just Phoenix and they have Gigantha, which I don't think is unreasonable. Like, some people like to just, like, act like Gigantha is an irrelevant card, but obviously a free 5/5 is relevant. I don't know. I don't get that sentiment. But, yep. So, they just kind of do nothing. Play a cantrip. Add Giada to the board. My hand's not superb, but I've got stuff. Thinking about Spell Pierce, thinking about if I want to play this Kyla's Reconstruction, if I draw a land, and in the meantime, just, playing my shitty creatures and attacking for some damage. Right now, I'm trying to figure out if I want to play Giada. So the new Giada will be a 3/3, and this will turn into a 1/1. I decided that it's just not worth doing. So I don't. Picklock Prankster, they get a Lightning Axe. They play a Profs. And then they Lightning Axe, discarding Phoenix, kill my Bishop. I draw an untapped land, which is really fortunate for me. So now I get to Kyla's and get 2 things, hopefully. We hit double 3-drop. And now I have a pretty big board versus Phoenix. Phoenix isn't great against these types of boards. And as far as I can tell, the Phoenix matchup is pretty good for Angels. Just because, like I said, they're just not very good at dealing with big boards. And you can block their flyers. So, Picklock Prankster. I don't think they Treasure Cruise. Just cast more cantrips. Get back a Phoenix. We draw. Collect a company. Love my spot at this point. I think my opponent might even just concede here. But now I'm trying to figure out what do I want my board to look like. What do I want to get. I decide their Phoenix doesn't really matter. Let's just make my board giant. And that should be the game. So that's game 1. Sideboarding. I put in Shaper Sanctuary. I don't know if you want Takashi's Welcome or not. It's kind of interesting. Like, I think against Control that you want it, but I'm not sure that it's good against Phoenix. I kind of hate the card Shaper Sanctuary, to be honest. It's only really good if you have it on turn 1. And then it's sort of a brick later. It kind of functions like a Leyline, weirdly enough, where if you have it in your opening hand, it's really, really good. But if you draw it later after your opponent's developed or you're behind, it's pretty bad. So keep a mediocre 7, but it's just stuff, so why not? Giada on 2, opponent plays cantrips. But Ledger Shredder, Fiery Impulse, that's fine. Skyclave Apparition. And I think my opponent just floods out here. They just play a bunch of cantrips and don't do much else. Play Angel, attack him for 2. Play my Bishop. Play another Angel. This isn't doing that much, but like I said, I think my opponent just doesn't have relevant cards in their hand. I don't really know what their hand could be. I think it's just like 2 Spell Pierces and 2 lands, if I had to guess. But I'm wrong. Here's a Lightning Axe. Discarding another Lightning Axe. So, it's kind of weird. Opponent just sort of did nothing, but we take those. Alright, so match 3. This one is, yeah, this one's rough. Okay, so we're on the play. We play a Giada, our opponent plays Strict Proctor. So, if you don't know what this card does, when permanent entering the battlefield causes a trigger, it's countered unless the player that controls the trigger pays 2 mana. So this just stops my whole deck. My hand's a bunch of Skyclave Apparitions, they can't clear it. I play some stuff. They play Lotus Field, alright. So they just played 3 lands this turn because they don't have to sack because of the trigger. So I'm thinking, well, that's really bad for me. I attack. They didn't block earlier. They took 2, you'll notice, because they played around a Ganjo. They blocked this time, like, okay, well, I guess I get to kill their guy. Not that it matters. I'm pretty sure I'm dead. I'm playing against blue-white control. I have 3 Skyclave Apparitions, which don't do anything even if this Proctor dies. But to add insult to injury, they stifle my Iganjo with Tail's End, and they get to keep their guy in play. So, whatever. Sure. Your turn. They go. This is turn 4. They played Teferi with their 5 mana. Play another Lotus Field. So, they just played 3 lands the past 2 turns, and this Teferi makes 6 mana on taps. And I said fair enough, and we go next. So in Takashi's Welcome, in Peacekeeper, and I just take out Skyclave Apparitions. I end up putting a Damping Sphere in, which I don't know if this was right, but everything just seemed awful. And I figured maybe I could cheese them or something. I don't know. I was kind of off of it. This matchup seems like maybe the exact worst matchup you could ever play. Like, if you could just pick a deck to beat Angels with, you might just pick this deck. Like, it seems awful. It's just, control's already horrible, and then they have a 2-mana Elish Norn. So, yeah. Alright, mulligan. Keep this hand. Have Elfin to Righteous Valkyrie. I think this is a mull to 5, but they soul partition. I don't actually. Maybe, am I misremembering this match? I recorded this a while ago, so maybe I'm misremembering this. All right, so they go Proctor, I Company. I apologize if I got some things wrong. We'll see. Company, add to my board. Yeah, okay, this match is faster than I think. I think I know what happens. So, yep, it's back. We get our triggers. That's great. It doesn't really matter. I can't even attack into it. So, I think, what do I end up doing? I think I just pass. And they play another Lotus Field, so yeah, that's bad news for me. Company, get some creatures into play. I guess I get Bishop and Giada, so I have some insulation versus a sweeper that does not exile, but everyone knows nowadays sweepers exile. That's just what they do. So dice triggers are no more. Indestructible. Not irrelevant. So yeah, I pay for one of the triggers, gain 4 life. I'm trying to set up Righteous Valkyrie if I draw a land, because this costs 5, and then I pay 2 for the triggers, so my board's big. And what did I get wrong here? 3, why is it 4? I did some math. Oh, I have the Giada. Okay, yeah, so I don't need the land. The Giada taps for mana. That's what I messed up. So I get to play my Righteous Valkyrie. I get to buff my board, do a ton of damage. They go down to 7, they chump, and they untap and cast Farewell. So, yep. So no 1/1s for me. I was hoping I would get, 1, 2, 3. I would get 4 1/1s and then have an Anointed Peacekeeper, and maybe I could win from there. But they just Farewell me. They could have Sunfolded me, too. But yeah, GG. Like I said, I think that's a pretty bad matchup. All right. So this hand is great. I wish this Kyler's Reconstruction was a Collected Company, but other than that, no complaints. Play an Elf, it gets Fire Impulsed. Play a Bishop, play a Righteous Valkyrie. Opponent does not have a second land, which is kind of interesting. I assume that they have a cantrip, but decided not to play it. It's sort of weird, though. Nah, there's no way, right? I think they draw a cantrip. I don't know. This hand is weird. So they play Sleight of Hand, whatever. Hit their land drop. I play Giada, and I'm just pecking with flyers. Not impressive, but I have this College Reconstruction. I'm hoping they tap out. They are mana starved, so I'm hoping I can put enough pressure down, and then I think I might just jam it here. I think it gets Spell Pierced, which this was a mistake in hindsight. Like I said, I played this deck to just turn my brain off, so I committed to the bit, but I didn't need to do this. I could just force them to use mana to get back in the game and then play it later. So that was impatience by me, but I don't think it really matters. They play a Ledger Shredder. I Skyclave Apparition it. Yeah. Overseer draws a card. Play another Giada because I have 24 life. I know this will come in as a 5/5, and then that will buff my board. So instead of having 6 power, I end up having 12. I attack for exactly lethal, but this could attack too. So that's game 1. And post board, I put in 2 Shaper Sanctuaries. Again, I'm thinking about these Takashi's Welcome. I'm also kind of reassessing if I want Skyclave Apparitions or not. Because, like, they can hit Phoenix, I guess. The important card to nab is Shredder, but I don't even think it's that important. So I just put in 2 Rest in Peace and 2 Shaper Sanctuary, and then I take out 2 Elves and 2 Skyclave Apparitions, which I'm happy with this sideboard plan. Like, the Elves are fine, but they just die so often, and I'm on the draw, so I'm more likely to hit my land drops anyway. Alright, so they are on the play, game 2. My hand is sort of the nuts. I have turn 1 Shaper Sanctuary. I have a 2, a 3, and a Collected Company. I have to take some damage from my brush land, but I think it's worth it. If I play the branch off pathway, I can't curve into Bishop. That's another thing that's awkward about Shaper Sanctuary, which is just like how your mana works with the pathways sometimes, if that is a thing you want to play on one. But you'll see in this game, it really overperforms. Like, it's incredible in this game. I don't think that if you want to be good at Magic, though, you should just like have a card be really good and then decide that it's good. I think there's a lot of reasons to not play with Shaper Sanctuary. I think it's a bit of a bait card, but like I said, I just net decked a list, and it was good here. So, you know, take that for what you want. So they tap out to Treasure Cruise, which is great for me because I get to resolve a company. My board's set up. Even if they do, like, they can't Brotherhoods end my 1/4s. Even if they do have removal spells, I get redraws. And it would be scary that I might get beat down, but I have all these bishops to gain life, so I don't have to worry about that. So attack in for 4, play my bishop, so if they want to kill the Giada, they have to do it right away. It doesn't really matter, but I guess it matters for the Shredder trigger. Yeah, so this was a good play though, man. And they loot, and I think, yeah, so they end up finding a Lightning Axe, clearing one of the bishops, but I've got 2 more, so not a big deal. And then we get a 3/2, gains us a life, draws us a card, and then we get 8 from the bishops. Oh, yeah, and so far the Shaper Sanctuary has drawn us 2, now 3 cards. So yeah, it's excellent if you have it on turn 1, that's for sure. There's another expensive Treasure Cruise, 3 mana, draw 3, not nearly as scary as an Ancestral. Again, they're just tapped out, so I know I can do whatever I want. I'm probably going to skip through this. I think my opponent should have conceded sooner than they did. But, you know, whatever. Do your thing. Play your game. But yeah, we play Resplendent Angel, play another Resplendent Angel. Our board is huge. We're gaining 1,000,000 life. We're now making Giant Angels every end step. So what? I think we get a 7/7 and an 8/8 maybe? Or no, an 8/8 and a 9/9. So 8/8, 9/9 Vigilance against Phoenix. It's going to need a lot of Brazen Borrowers, but they're halfway through their deck. So they did find 4 Arclight Phoenix, so I guess that's why they didn't concede. I don't think it really comes close to ever mattering, but they do have this sort of army of fogs in all these Arclight Phoenix, but like I said, I don't think it's going to matter. So I make an attack that I know they can't actually trade. They have to block all my big things to not be dead. So these are all chumps. And then my Resplendent Archangels trigger again. So yeah, if you get to play Angels into decks without, you know, Supreme Verdict, Sunfalls, Farewell, stuff like that, it can be nasty. But this Shaper Sanctuary has done a lot of work. I may have missed some cards drawn. I think it ends up drawing 4 or 5 cards this game, but they're just dead. They play Treasure Cruise, do some more stuff, get back Phoenixes, and then I just play the Anthem Angel and attack them, and they finally concede. I think they're already dead on board, but GG's. All right, final match. I am on the play. Love to be on the play in the game Magic the Gathering. It's very good. So I keep this hand. It's not perfect, but I think this is probably always a keep on the play. Righteous Valkyrie is maybe the best card in the deck. I have Giada, so even if I miss a land drop, I get mana there. Draw an Elf, which is just like probably the worst draw. I guess Kyler's Reconstruction is not particularly useful either. Elf's not the worst draw because I could draw a green land, but draw an Elf doesn't do much. That's fine. See my opponent's playing an aggro deck, so excited about that. But then they start doing stuff. I panic for a second. It's not too bad. It's just 2 burning trees, so 2 frogmites and a play with fire. So now I'm praying I draw a land, and we do. It's a shock land, so take 2, but extremely happy to see that. And now I know this game's winnable. Was sort of worried they might play like a Goblin Bushwhacker instead of a play with fire. That would have still been beatable, but... Alright, so they make this attack, and I go, okay, they don't have Monstrous Rage, what do they have? And it's just play with fire. The way they attack it, they just kind of make it obvious. But I don't know what they could do differently. Like, if they bluff attack the 1/1... I probably don't block the 1/1 because I think it's Monstrous Rage. And then if I do block the 1/1, I lose my Angel either way, except for that way they get a 1/1 counter. So maybe it was correct to attack all and just say, hey, I have Monstrous Rage. But if I do put them on play with fire, I just eat the 1/1, which isn't great for them. It's a tough spot either way. And so this is their hand. They used all their cards. And this might be a loose play by me. But... as I've been saying, you show up with the Angel deck, you just jam. So play the company, hoping I don't brick. I know 1 Angel is probably going to be good enough. Fortunately, we hit an Angel and a Skyclave Apparition, so deal with, I guess, one of the 1/1s, and then gain 4 life. Now we're at 10. We have a big board. They have to draw something here, and even if they do, we're probably not going to die. I guess what? A Tarka's Command, I block. 1/1 on 3/3. I don't even lose my 2/4, so yeah. And post board, put in Portable Hole. And I don't remember what I take out. I think I want to say I just take out Inspiring Overseer and Kyler Reconstruction, but I don't know. So I end up taking out Elves. I guess that's somewhat defensible because I would rather Portable Hole on turn 1 than play Elf, I think. With the way my deck's configured. And I keep it 1 Overseer, so in hindsight, I think about these Shaper Sanctuary against like a different mono red deck. Maybe if my opponent shows me like a light up the stage, I could consider it. But this is a Burning Emissary deck, so I think I definitely don't want those. I think trimming Kyla's is reasonable. Maybe my logic here is that, like, I just need to put Angels into play and I'll win. So Kyla's is another way to do that. Have a 2-lander with a bunch of 3-drops. Decide it's not worth keeping. Throw it back. And we've got Bishop of Wings in addition to an Elf. Bishop of Wings might just be the best card versus aggro decks because it has so much toughness and it's so cheap. But turn 1 Kumano. No second land. Again, really good news for me. Already a bad matchup for the opponent. So I tank for a moment, decide I'm going to play Giada, and if they do nothing, I get to Bishop and a Resplendent Angel. So there's another Kumano, and I just know the game's over. Not really anything they do. They kept the 1-lander and bricked. Unfortunate, but it's kind of what happens. Like, these decks probably play 20 lands. So I've definitely been here. It's frustrating, but kind of comes with the territory playing aggro. And I think they're like, well, it doesn't really matter what I draw at this point. So that's it. Ended up going 3-2 total. Not an incredible record, but acceptable. It was nice to not have to think about much. I could have played slightly better, but I don't think it ever ended up mattering. So that's Green-White Angels. Probably the first like meta deck that I've posted. Most of the other things I posted have just been brews. This is me taking a vacation from making my own shitty decks. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope it was somewhat informative, and maybe if you're thinking about playing this deck, hopefully it helped with that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.